Family is so important. I still wonder and ask myself daily, with all the crime going on, what do my peers think? Right? What do the average person out there, especially a black person, what do you think is the cause of it? See, the reason things keep happening is because we fail to talk with one another to get some type of understanding of what's going on. We know the women raising the children by themselves. That's obvious. That's obvious. But we still yet lack the understanding of why things happen the way they happen. Or do we play dumb and try to ignore it? I think a lot of people try to play dumb and ignore it. They know what the problem is. They just really don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to put forth any work, and that's how we got in this situation. People not wanting to work. People not wanting to stand up and fight for what's right. They say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's, every day I live, that's a proven fact that I recognize and witness with my own eyes. If you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything. But what's going on today has been going on. That's how our ancestors was enslaved in the southern states. That's how we ended up that way, from not communicating and not sticking together. The same thing will continue to happen until we wake up and recognize what the problem is and where the problem lies amongst us. The longer we wait, the harder it gets. Did you hear what I said? The longer we wait, the harder it gets. It's the exact same thing. If people look back to 1865 when the Civil War allegedly broke off, all you got to do is read back in the archives or watch documentaries on YouTube. I mean, they're going to tell you what the Civil War was over. They're going to tell you what it was all about. 1865. You got to remember off their story, 1492, that's when Christopher Columbus allegedly got over here to the New World, which was already occupied. It was already occupied. And us people today, black people especially, we have to understand that. We have to understand what took place not too long ago, a few hundred years ago. We have to understand that in order to get ourselves out of what we're in today. It's not cut out for everybody. Being a historian, a fact finder, it's not cut out for everybody. Everybody can't swallow the truth. There's only a select few that can swallow the truth and take it with a grain of salt and keep pushing. But in order for us to grow, we most definitely gonna have to fact find and understand what's happened in the past. And one of the major things that happened in the past was a certain group of individuals taking control over our past and writing and publishing it in books. That's a major anomaly. Major. Our people got to understand that, if I'm your enemy and I don't want to confront you face to face so you might know exactly who I am, it's all type of other ways to go around getting rid of you. Our enemies wanted to teach us and feed us. They figured they could get rid of us that way. It might not be immediately, but it'll happen through a period of time. It will happen if they can educate us and feed us in their native tongue. Absolutely. So that's what one thing we got to realize today, before 1492, before the Europeans and Dutch came over here to North America, which was better known as Turtle Island back then, we didn't speak their native language. We had our own language. Anyone who does research on languages, you should know that each culture that has a language is going to derive from their way of life, their likings, their understanding. You can't separate a cultivative person from their culture and instill in them a language that's not of their own, native. You can't do that, because when you do that, that person and generations to come won't align with what's being said, which what we got today. You got people saying things, speaking things, but their actions don't coincide with what they're saying. And it's fine and dandy to them. Hunky dory. They don't have a problem with it. They don't have a problem saying, I love you. But then when you turn your back, they say, if you love me too. You see what I'm saying? So we got a long way to go, but a start is better than nothing. So we definitely have to understand that the native language that we spoke before 1492 wasn't the language that we're speaking today, which is very conflicting and controversial today. Because see, a lot of people out here don't understand, and I see social media waking some people up, enlightening them to certain different aspects of life. And I gotta say, a lot of people today, they realize something is strange. They realize something going on and it's strange, but they just can't put the finger on it. Where I tell people all the time, the research, the main brunt of the research has already been complete and done. It's already been done. All you got to do is look back in the past. Not even that far. Look back. It's people that felt the same way you felt 40, 50 years ago. And they didn't have as much distractions as we have today. They don't have as many as distractions. And they got to the bottom of it. They got to the bottom of it and figured out what the problem was. Today, it's just we have to accept it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already been invented. It's already suits its purpose. You just got to be a little bit creative. We're divided thin. We're divided really, 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 really thin, and they're dividing us thinner even more. We're the only people on this globe that don't align with one another. Here in North America, we're the only people on this globe. It should bother people. Hell, everybody can't be right. Everybody can't be right. Somebody got to be wrong. Me personally, I don't mind being wrong. I love to be corrected. That means that person who's correcting me and did their homework. And guess what? I learned something new. I learned something new that day. I don't have no problem with that, especially if they explain it a right way and you show me your references and I understand where you got the information from. I don't have a problem with that, because in today's time, we're being exposed and presented with a lot of information that past generations just wasn't privileged to know. I can understand that. If you can't understand that, this line of work ain't for you. It's definitely not for you. But back to what I was saying, a lot of things had changed up from the beginning of other indigenous immigrants coming to this land. We have to face that. We can't continue to push that up under the rug. It has to be faced. We got to understand that. And we got to work toward understanding our true identities and who we are and our true purpose. That's important. We cannot go forward as a people if we don't do that. Everyone can't say, well, I'm going to stay in my own lane. That's what I hear a lot today is people saying, oh, I want to stay in my own lane. I'm going to stay out the way. I don't want to be bothered. That's the wrong answer. Wrong answer. You can't stay out. You can't decline to be involved because we're in society together. Only way you can decline to not be involved is if you stayed in the cave or in the wilderness by yourself. If you stayed in the cave or the wilderness by yourself, by all means, stay out of the way. Stay in your lane. Do your thing. But as long as we're in society where the mass majority of our people reside, no, the wrong answer. the wrong answer.